Stevie Nicks has had a unique voice in rock for a long time, known for her ethereal appearance and deeply personal songs. At age 76, her legacy is built on decades of #1 songs, iconic performances, and deeply personal lyrics that were shaped by the people she has met and the things she has been through during her work. But there is a less well-known part of her life that lies behind the music and mystery, one based on a strong, long-lasting love she doesn't talk much about. Today is the first time Nicks has talked about the person who will always be important to her. As time goes on, the story is full of love, loss, and the kind of relationship that lasts. She wrote some of her most famous songs about this man, and she never really let go of him. Stevie Nicks and Lindsay A. Buckingham met at Menlo Atherton High School in California in the 1960s and began making music together. When they met for the first time, they became close professionally and emotionally, which changed the future of rock and roll. They were very creative and complicated together, and their relationship became famous just like their music. While they were still in school, they sang together at a senior event, showing off a natural harmonies that hinted at the famous relationship that would come later. They didn't see each other for a while after high school, but 2 years later, Buckingham asked Nicks to join his band, Fritz. This work together was the start of their rock music journey. Soon they were opening for big names like Jefferson Airplane and Janis Joplin, which threw them into the exciting high-stress world of 1960s rock music. In the early 1970s, Fritz became less important, and Nicks and Buckingham became tighter. They went from being just lovers to a pair, and their music shows how passionate and emotional they were. Their first record together, Buckingham-Nicks, came out in 1973. Even though the album didn't do well at the box office, it set the stage for their future and caught Mick Fleetwood's attention, which led to an offer that would change their lives. In 1975, when they joined Fleetwood Mac, it was a big turning point for the couple. When they joined the band, it gave it new life, but it also put a lot of stress on their relationship. The pressure started to show up while they were working on the groundbreaking album Rumors. The difficulties of sudden celebrity and the focus of their work started to make it harder for them to connect. By 1976, when Rumors was being recorded, Nick and Buckingham's friendship had reached its end. But the pain of their split led to some of the most famous rock songs ever written. Nicks wrote Dreams, a sad song about a lost love, and Buckingham wrote Go Your Own Way, a song with a rough, angry sound. The way they talked about their own problems in their songs touched a lot of people, and Rumors became one of the best-selling albums of all time. Even after they broke up romantically, Nicks and Buckingham continued to work together on music. Even though there were problems, the arguments between them became a trademark of Fleetwood Mac. They gave their shows energy and made their songs more complex, which captivated fans. After the crazy split with Buckingham, Nicks went to a whole new level of fame and artist's exploration. She met J.D. Souther during this big storm. He was an important part of her short-lived love life. In the early 1970s, when Los Angeles's music scene was very active, Stevie Nicks and J.D. Souther met for the first time. Souther was already a big name in country rock. He had written some big hits for the Eagles and made a name for himself with his own music. Nicks met Souther, who knew what it was like to be in the spotlight. Nicks was fresh off of her breakup with Lindsay Buckingham and feeling great about Fleetwood Mac's success. There was electricity between them. Both were known for writing and performing songs from the heart, and their relationship went beyond physical attraction to a deeper artistic bond. They had a short-lived relationship, but they loved music together and admired each other's skills as artists. Though the music business that brought them together also presented some major problems. In the 1970s, men dominated the music scene, and women were often pushed to the side or only seen through the lens of their interactions with male musicians. Nicks was set on making a name for herself as an artist, but she had to deal with problems in her field while also figuring out her relationship with Souther. It caught her attention that male artists like Souther got special treatment and respect that female artists didn't always get. This inequality was clear to Nicks, who was quickly rising to become one of the most important women in rock music. These limits kept bothering her as their relationship grew, and she used her growing power to fight for herself and other women in the business. Ironically, her relationship with Souther seemed to make her more determined to get noticed for her skills instead of her relationships. Even though their relationship was short, it had a big effect on Nicks's artistic growth. Souther's knowledge of music and connections in the music scene as a whole gave Nicks access to new ideas and chances. Both the personal and professional parts of their relationship helped Nicks develop her own unique style as an artist and songwriter. After they broke up, Nicks put all of her feelings into her songs. The ideas of independence, power, and the search for acceptance became even more clear in the songs she wrote. A lot of people think that songs like After the Glitter Fades and Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You were inspired by this time in her life, but Nicks has always kept her sources of inspiration a secret. Music as Nicks's initial joy about her short relationship with Souther faded, she became involved in what would become the most complicated relationship she had ever been in. Mick Fleetwood's relationship with Nicks was a very important part of her emotional life, is directly connected to the rough and creative dynamics of Fleetwood Mac. In the end, this connection changed the way their band played and how rock music was made in general. The start of their relationship was in the rough environment of Fleetwood Mac in the late 1970s. The band was at the height of their fame, thanks to the success of their seminal record Rumours. On the other hand, human ties were breaking down below the surface. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham had just broken up after being together for a long time. In contrast, Mick Fleetwood's marriage to Jenny Boyd was unstable. Nicks and Fleetwood were deeply drawn to each other, even though they were going through difficult emotions and were very creative. They lost the ability to tell the difference between their personal and work lives, which led to a passionate but difficult relationship. Nicks and Fleetwood's friendship was powerful and had many ups and downs. During their relationship, they had crazy tour schedules, long studio hours, and were always getting attention from the media and their peers. This love story had a big impact on Fleetwood Mac's songs. Fans loved how honest and raw their songs were, because of the emotional ups and downs they went through. But it also made the group dynamic very dramatic. The other members had to deal with the fallout and try to keep things business, even though things were going badly in their own lives. It was really hard for Buckingham to see his ex with another band member. Nicks and Fleetwood's relationship wasn't meant to last, as many do when they come from such a messed up past, but that didn't mean they couldn't stay close after the love part was over. It was up to Nicks and Fleetwood to figure out how to keep working together in Fleetwood Mac. They became close friends and made songs together. They loved the band and each other very much, even though things didn't always go as planned. After having a rough time with Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks became interested in another famous musician. It was 1977, and she was feeling great after Fleetwood Mac's huge record Rumours. Don Henley, who played drums and sang lead vocals with the Eagles, was also at the top of his game. There were sparks between these two singing stars as soon as they met. Both Nicks and Henley were famous for how captivating they were on stage, and how well they could use their songs to express strong feelings. When they were together they were great because they both loved music and knew what it was like to be famous. But the strong emotion that brought them together also turned against them. It was hard for them to balance the needs of their bands with the difficulties of being in a public relationship. Things were pretty unstable because they were always on the road, wanted to be in the spotlight, and had strong personalities. Nicks got a surprise that changed everything in the middle of her fast-paced relationship. She learned she was having a child. This news made me feel a lot of different things and make some hard choices. Nicks and Henley were both at important points in their careers, with busy tour plans and work to do on new albums. It was appealing to think about having kids, but they didn't think it would fit with their plans. After giving it a lot of thought and probably going through a lot of pain, Nicks made the hard choice to end the pregnancy. Even though this was a very personal choice, it would have big effects on both her and Henley. They would talk about it for years to come because it was such an important part of their relationship. Because of this choice, their relationship slowly fell apart after it happened. It was too much for their new love to handle the weight of what could have been, and the constant pace of their jobs. However, even after they broke up romantically, the effects of their time together would still be felt in their music. Jimmy and Stevie Nicks had a unique vibe that mixed their work relationship with a personal one. This had a big impact on her music career, and the music scene as a whole. Nicks was already a rock star in the early 1980s. And I was just starting out as a producer after working on her first solo record, Bellina. They were really attracted to each other right from the start. Ivine was great at getting Nicks's unique sound and making it better, and his drive matched hers perfectly. As they worked together for long hours in the studio, their friendship went from being professional to becoming more personal. The making of Belladonna changed their personal and work lives in big ways. Those late nights when we made music together, they were both excited about making something special, and the closeness of the making process made their attraction grow. Nicks saw more in Iovine than just a good producer. He understood her artistic idea and helped make it happen. As their bond grew, it made the work they did together more difficult. You could hear Iovane's impact on Nicks's music more, and it helped shape the sound that would define her solo career. Some of the best songs that came out of their work together are Edge of 17 Inches and Stop Dragging My Heart Around. But there were times when things were hard in their union. When Nicks first started her single career, she had to balance her duties to Fleetwood Mac. At the same time, I was busy making my mark as a top producer in the business. Having a personal relationship and a business partnership at the same time in the high-stress world of rock and roll was hard. Even with these problems, their friendship remained important as they worked together professionally. Their personal connection changed over time, but they were able to walk the fine line between being close and working together. The end of their relationship didn't mean they stopped having an effect on each other's lives and jobs. Ivine became one of the most important people in the music business. He helped start Intercope Records and was a key part of making Beats Electronics. Nicks kept riding the waves of her fame, even though she was having personal problems. In 1982, while Nicks was having a successful solo career, Robin was pregnant with her first child and was told she had leukemia that would kill her. Nicks took this terrible news very hard because she knew she was going to lose her best friend soon. As Robin's health got worse, Nicks promised to be there for her friend in her last moments. Robin's husband Kim Anderson was also very sad, which led to a strong bond and a choice that was later seen as a mistaken attempt to honor Robin's death wish to care for her son. They decided on the spot to get married only 3 months after Robin died. Their friends and family were shocked and worried when they got married. Many people saw it as a rushed decision made out of sadness rather than real love. At some point, Nicks would admit that she got married to keep Robin's memory alive and play a motherly role. After they both lost someone close to them, they built a strong bond that started to weaken. This made their differences clear. Nicks loved how free and exciting her rock and roll life was, but at home it started to feel like too much work. On the other hand, Anderson had a hard time juggling Nicks's busy work schedule. In 1984, they got a divorce, which meant they were no longer married after only 8 months of marriage. Stevie Nicks' relationship with Joe Walsh was a big deal in her life. It was full of love, problems, and a sad ending that changed both of them and their music. They started dating in the late 1970s, when both of their jobs were going well. Nicks was killing it with Fleetwood Mac and her own music, and Walsh was already known for being a great guitarist. Nicks liked her friendship with Walsh because she felt like she had a real partner in him. Everybody was doing well in their own jobs, and they came together with a lot of respect and love for each other. They became friends because they both loved music and pushed each other to be more artistic. Nicks often called Walsh her soulmate, which showed how much she loved him, but dating was hard for them because of their fame and their own problems. They knew it was best to break up after a few years of being together. Even though they broke up amicably, the time they spent together had a huge effect on Nicks's life and songs. She stayed close with Walsh and told him many things. You can still hear his impact in her music. Nicks liked that her relationship with Walsh felt fair and helpful. Unlike other relationships she had been in where she had to compete or fight for power, they really understood each other as artists and as people who had to deal with the things that fame brings. During their trip, they were very creative, and Walsh helped Nicks write some of her most emotional songs. Even though they were both dealing with addiction problems, his guitar skills and her voice went well together. Even though things got hard, their relationship got stronger. They weren't just lovers, they helped each other out in their own fights. Sharing the ups and downs of fame brought them closer, and Nicks felt closer to her partner than she had in other relationships. Their songs showed how much they loved each other, but in the end, they realized they needed to separate to focus on their own healing. Both of them had to make a hard choice, but they did it out of love and a wish to remember each other. Nicks had a hard time after they broke up. She was sad and thought a lot about herself. At a later time, she talked about how hard it was to break up with Walsh. The pain of being apart from him made her more creative, and they stayed connected in some way. They were in love, but they were able to make a deep and long friendship out of it. Being able to stay close, even after they broke up, showed how much they cared about each other. Both Nicks and Walsh felt both happy and sad when they thought about their relationship after many years had passed. Walsh had changed Nicks in a way that no one else could, so he was still the love of her life. That lyrical feel has really shaped her music, making it easy for people to connect with her on a personal level. A unique thing about Nicks as an artist is that she can use her own life events to make stories that everyone can relate to. Her songs are often very personal, but people can relate to them because they are about love, heartbreak, and getting back on your feet after something bad. Nicks has an amazing ability to turn specific events in her life into moving stories about longing, nostalgia, and hard-won knowledge. Plus, being open about what makes her write songs has helped her connect with her fans in a special way. People can read about her ups and downs in relationships in her songs, as if they were seeing a part of her personal journey. Fans have been drawn to Nicks for generations because she is honest, which makes them see her not just as a rock star but as someone who can connect to them. Her songs really show how her ideas about love and relationships have changed over time. When she was younger, she was in passionate relationships that gave her ideas for fiery songs. But in her later works, she often shows a deeper and more thoughtful view of love. This growth is like Nicks's own, from a young woman figuring out her relationship problems to an experienced artist with lots to share.